Skyrim is one of the most legendary open-world games ever made, but what most players don't realize is that the version we played was only part of what Bethesda originally built. Here are 7 massive Skyrim features that were cut and could have changed the game forever. Number 7. Winterhold was supposed to be a real city. Winterhold is one of the strangest places in the game. When you first arrive, it feels less like a capital city and more like a ghost town. A few broken buildings, some scattered NPCs, and the college sitting above it all like the only thing that matters. But here's what most players don't realize. Winterhold was never meant to be this empty. Early development plans suggest it was supposed to be a full major city, on the same level as Solitude or Whiterun, packed with life, politics, quests, and history. The Great Collapse, the disaster that destroyed the city, was originally going to be more than just background lore. It was meant to be something you could actually explore deeper, with more survivors, more tension, and possibly even a much bigger storyline involving the college itself. Instead, Winterhold became a shell of what it could have been. A reminder that Skyrim's world still has missing pieces buried underneath the surface. Number 6. Skyrim almost had a full arena combat system. If you played Oblivion, you probably remember one of its most iconic features, the arena, a place where you could rise through the ranks, fight for glory, and become a champion. And believe it or not, Skyrim was originally going to have something similar. Bethesda had plans for an arena-style combat system, a structured place where players could enter organized battles, fight waves of enemies, earn rewards, and build a reputation. It would have given brawling and combat a completely different purpose outside of random encounters. There are hints in unused files and leftover systems that suggest it was once part of the design, but somewhere during development, it was cut. And instead, Skyrim's combat became something that only existed out in the wild, not in a place built for warriors. A full gladiator storyline, erased before launch. Number 5. The Civil War questline. The Civil War is one of Skyrim's biggest storylines, a full-scale conflict dividing the entire province. Stormcloaks versus Imperials. And yet, when you actually play it, something feels off. The war ends quickly, choices don't change much, and cities barely react. That's because the Civil War was originally far more complex. Bethesda planned larger battles, more shifting control of territory, deeper consequences, and branching paths that could have dramatically changed the world. Some versions of the questline would have allowed cities to change hands multiple times, and certain characters were meant to live or die depending on your decisions. It wasn't supposed to feel like a short side story. It was meant to be one of Skyrim's defining features. But as development time ran out, huge portions were removed, and what we got was only the simplified version of a war that was meant to reshape the entire game. Number 4. The Silver Hand were supposed to be joinable. In Skyrim, the companions are basically the game's warrior guild, but halfway through their questline, you learn their secret. They aren't just fighters, they're werewolves, and their enemies, the Silver Hand, exist for one purpose: to hunt them down. But here's the twist. The Silver Hand were originally meant to be more than random villains. Early concepts suggest they were supposed to be a joinable faction, a true alternative path. Instead of becoming a werewolf, you may have been able to reject the companions and side with the hunters trying to destroy them. That would have completely changed one of Skyrim's most iconic questlines. A moral choice, a different ending, and a faction war inside the guild itself. But in the final game, the Silver Hand are barely explained, and a storyline with massive potential was cut down into nothing more than enemies with silver swords. Number 3. The Dark Brotherhood was supposed to have a much darker ending. The Dark Brotherhood questline is one of the most loved in Skyrim. Assassinations, betrayal, secrets. But even though it's memorable, it feels like it ends too soon. That's because Bethesda originally planned a much deeper Brotherhood storyline. There were supposed to be more targets, more paths, and more choices that would define what kind of assassin you became. Some cut material hints that players were once meant to fully embrace the Brotherhood's darkness, with alternate endings and expanded missions that went far beyond what we received. Instead, the questline was shortened, streamlined, and locked into a single path. You can destroy the Brotherhood, or follow the story as written, but the idea of becoming something truly feared, a legendary assassin shaping Skyrim from the shadows, was never fully realized. Number 2. Skyrim almost had entire extra Daedric realms. Daedric quests in Skyrim are some of the most creative in the game. The Mind of Madness, the Soul Cairn, Hermaeus Mora's realm. But what most players don't know is that Skyrim was originally going to have far more Daedric realm content. Bethesda planned additional Oblivion-like worlds, fully explorable dimensions tied to different Daedric princes. More surreal environments, more horrifying quests, and more moments where Skyrim stopped feeling like a fantasy world and started feeling like something cosmic and alien. But most of it was cut, leaving only fragments of what could have been a much larger supernatural layer to the game. Skyrim's Daedric princes were meant to feel endless, but instead, we only saw a glimpse. Number 1. Skyrim was supposed to have a full reputation system. This is the biggest cut feature of them all, and it would have changed everything. Bethesda originally planned for Skyrim to include a true reputation system, meaning your actions wouldn't just disappear. NPCs would react differently depending on what you'd done. Towns might fear you or worship you. Your crimes would carry weight and your heroism would spread. Instead, Skyrim's world resets. You can save a city and guards still mock you. You can become a legend and people barely notice. The reputation system was removed before launch, likely due to complexity and time. But if it had stayed, Skyrim would have felt like a living world that truly remembered your story. And that might be the greatest what-if Bethesda ever left behind. Skyrim may be a masterpiece, but what's almost more fascinating is the game it was supposed to be. If you know of any other major cut content, lost questlines, or hidden features, drop them in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thanks for watching.